the first parliament and of the first record. Everything was transparent and it was open to the public.
A good reminder to come back here to realize what makes a great society.
It's a very democratic organization.
That really is part of the core goals of the society.
Welcome to the Athens City Experience. We're going to start off with a little bit of a tour to essentially explore themes of ancient Greece and how to apply them back to both ESCRS and the field of ophthalmology as a whole.
In this regards, it always makes sense to meet each other more on a more personal way. We try to, of course, engage our colleagues and talk about topics, bring up topics we thought about would be of value.
I just want to say thank you all for coming out again. We will get underway.
Polis means city. That's why we have politics, politicians, policies. It has to do with the people. I wanted to show you as much as I could from the Acropolis. Once you go in, on your right-hand side, you have the Parthenon. Everything was painted. We had the conflict of Athena and Poseidon that led people to name the city Athens. We have the ruins of the first parliament and of the first record. Everything was transparent and it was open to the public, and the people were gathering every day to talk about voting by raising the hand. And who had this right? Only the Athenian citizens. Women and slaves didn't have the right to vote at that time. Thank you very much all for your attention.
All right, well, we are going on to our roundtable now. Philomena.
And I would like to invite our special guest. It's David Chung. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Ancient Greece was the birthplace of philosophy where debate and inquiry shaped society. How does societies around the world, the ESCRS, the ASCRS, where you were past president, David, define its core philosophy, and how does that encourage open dialogue to guide the future of ophthalmology?
Well, I think the Greeks were known for debates and welcoming and being tolerant of multiple opinions. It's kind of a good reminder to come back here and, to realize what makes a great society and a great civilization is being open. Finding that line where you can disagree but not take it personally is something we keep having to go back to.
Burkhard, last year we were in Frankfurt where we learned about early democracy. So this theme of democracy continues. Tell me a little bit about what the ESCRS does to keep things open and free.
Yeah, so ESCRS is, I think Philomena can also comment on it, but it's a very democratic organization because we have elected council members. These are colleagues who have to be recommended first. There can only be one for one country, and we have in total 10 seats, and this is the so-called parliament.
Since last year, we have a project specific to address inclusivity in our society. So the BOSS project has several activities all over the year, and is something that really is part of the core goals of the society.
In the United States, we have one country. So when we come up with practice pattern guidelines, it's easy because we have one policy. Very different in the EU, where you have so many different countries and so forth. What is needed is to kind of come forward with some consensus standards that everyone can buy into, regardless of country.
It's true, and we have a great example from Greece. They start with this concept of medicine based on observation. And that is a principle that in the society, that's why the guidelines for cataract surgery, refractive surgery are so important.
And we are now joined by a Greek, Artemis Matsou. Thank you for coming. Now we move to current innovations in ophthalmology. What do you see as the major innovations of the day here in Athens?
I think, first of all, it's important to emphasize that innovation comes when there is open-minded people and there is an open dialogue, and there's room for discussion, and people can come forward with their ideas and share them. Ophthalmology is a specialty that is evolving so rapidly, actually, that sometimes it's difficult to catch up with everything. So in laser refractive surgery, in AI now, I think AI is actually the innovation of the time. Not a question of whether it's going to come in our practice. It's already in our practice, and it's going to come even more in our practice. And I think we need to shift a little bit of focus on that aspect as well, and how we can make the best use, ethical use of AI.
How accurate are we in naming what the innovation actually is and that will be relevant now and into the future?
I'm giving the Kilman lecture at 2 o'clock on this very subject, actually. ESCRS was founded 50 years ago because of the lack of a forum for people to discuss phaco and IOLs. It would be like saying, well, we're not allowed to talk about femto or AI or robotics because we don't believe in them, and just we're not going to even allow that on the podium. So we've come a long way from that. But I will agree with AI. I'm going to talk about the biggest unmet needs and what they are, but I'm going to wait till 2 o'clock.
Do we have any industry or other perspectives here?
I think this untapped 95% still not getting refractive surgery, I think that's the amazing pool we need to think about. How do we get there? And I mean, of course, AI is the topic in let's say, all over the place. I think for medtech, we need to be careful in the sense there's still a lot to be done with excellent algorithms. So we have so much data, so much good literature also in ophthalmology, where there are still a lot of things we can do without tapping into AI.
I'm envisioning a Greek amphitheater here suddenly, and the microphone is going around. I do have one question for Anne. Do you see AI permeating the space more in technology?
Indeed, I do think so. And not just to look what happened in the past, but to make better predictions of the future for IOL power calculation. And another field, of course, is lens development. There's still room to do more in this specific area.
We're also considering actually developing a whole AI summit where we would focus for a couple hours on these topics of technological development, but also the issue of machine-based decision-making versus doctor-based decision-making. Now we can make computers help us and not replace us.
ESCRS is taking into great account the gender balance. Female representative is growing that much. And since we have noticed that in the future, the majority of doctors will be female, at least in Italy, I think you are anticipating the time, which is a really good thing.
But of course, this is things that are improving. Still, after all this time, a lot to do. Just to finish, we miss these networking moments. Even with the city walk, as we made, we discussed everything on ophthalmology. We share our different perspectives, different countries. It works to be face-to-face and have these networking moments. Thank you so much.
Cheers.